If there is one thing us horror fanatics have in common, it's the struggles of finding the next good horror fix. Well, don't worry, cause we got you covered. Welcome to Critical Duckies, where we dig deep into the world of horror to bring you some hand-picked recommendations that will save your weekend.
The days of endless scrolling are over. Let us do the dirty work and help you find the perfect movie for your next fright night. So grab your popcorn, hit that subscribe button, and let us show you which horror movies you should be watching this weekend. This is this week's Weekend Deal.
Once, in a time before time, God breathed life into the universe, and the light gave birth to angels, and the earth gave birth to man, and the fire gave birth to the Djinn.
If you would ask me what is my favorite horror movie of all time, the chances are high I would answer Wishmaster. It's impossible to single out what makes this movie so good. First of all, you do have the incredible Andrew Divoff portraying the Djinn in such a way that it is probably one of, if not the biggest disgrace in horror movie history, that his character is rarely mentioned when we talk about the best horror villains of all time. In my humble opinion, whenever we talk about the legendary three, the best horror villains of the 80s and 90s, arguably in horror history, Andrew Divoff's portrayal of the Wishmaster should be up there with them. I'm dead serious. For those who know me, they know that I absolutely worship Robert Englund's portrayal of Freddy Krueger to the point where he's my favorite actor of all time. Also, shout out to Matthew Lillard. I love you, please come to Norway. But Andrew Divoff's acting as the Djinn outshines even Robert Englund himself. He is by far the scariest, most intimidating, and interesting movie villain I have ever seen. And the acting is just perfect. I can't really say anything to make justice to how good he is in this movie, but this scene tells it all. I can't think of anyone else that can go toe-to-toe with Tony Todd and actually be more intimidating.
I don't care what it sounds like. Step aside.
Let me make this real simple for you. If your name isn't on the list, you don't get in.
Yeah. I've dealt with your type before.
Mister, you never even met my type before.
I am going through that door, and you will not stop me. Is that perfectly clear, doorman?
Speaking of Tony Todd, a fun fact of the movie is that both Tony Todd, aka Candyman, Robert Englund, and Kane Hodder, who plays Jason Voorhees, have minor roles in this movie, as well as Angus Scrimm, aka the Tall Man from the Phantasm franchise, as the narrator. In what other movie do you find Candyman, Jason Voorhees, the Tall Man, and Freddy Krueger all together? If that's not a stamp of approval, then fuck if I know. The movie itself is filled with the delicious 90s gore, using practical effects that just look so good, and also so disgusting. The story is pretty much straightforward and not too complicated. I remember the first time I saw this, I was in a hotel room in Portugal at the age of 12, of all things. I was so curious and so invested in how the Djinn was going to twist someone else's wishes into something disturbing and, well, twisted. And I was not left disappointed back then. The movie did spawn 3 sequels, but I would highly recommend steering away from them, as none of them really does Wishmaster any justice. If you have to, then watch the second one, but then, for the love of God, stop. This is your final warning. I've watched this movie 100 times, and I will watch it 100 times more. You know what? I'm gonna goddamn watch it right now. Bye!
You really are fucked up, you know that? But I do like the way you think.
As a kid, did you have any frightening experiences? Did you ever have your parents check under your bed, closet, or needed a nightlight before you'd even consider going to sleep? Or were you a soldier, brave and bold, and thought you could handle whatever monster or ghost who dared to scare you? Well, in this movie, you can either relate or remain skeptical. Let's dive in, shall we? 2018 Kuntilanak. This movie is about 5 kids who discover that an antique mirror found in their orphanage is home to a ghost that kidnaps children and imprisons them inside the glass. Now, this movie is in no way slow, as we hear a voice calling out to Anjaz, who believes it's the voice of his mother coming from a covered mirror. His father, grieving over the loss of his wife, tries to comfort Anjaz to only lose his temper when his son refuses to sleep. In tears, Anjaz, who misses his mother, is then tempted and lured to the mirror, and thus he meets his fate. We are now introduced to the most adorable children, and OMG! Their acting is phenomenal, beyond my expectations, and deserves a round of applause. Now, living in an orphanage, Donna has decided to go on a trip to visit relatives, leaving the children in the watchful eye of her niece, Lydia, who has also asked her boyfriend Glenn to buy her aunt a new mirror in replacement of her old broken one. Glenn, who's the host of a TV show, lands himself in front of the abandoned home where Anjaz apparently vanished. And there he finds this mirror, taking it as a replacement gift. Was that a smart move? Maybe not. The children's bicker, attitude, and innocence makes this movie so entertaining, and we find ourselves liking each individual equally. Not to mention the adorable acting and the parts that leave you smiling. Dinda finds herself having constant nightmares and seeing ghostly figures, while 2 other boys claim to have heard a noise. After being blamed for a scratch mark, curious and clueless of the dangers that lie ahead, the children gather to speak of the possibilities of a Kuntilanak existing. Do you believe they exist? Little by little, weird things start happening, even to Lydia, who remains a skeptic, leaving you to question, what's going on? What's going to happen? But the children, as brave as they are, decide to investigate the home Anjaz once lived, where the Kuntilanak rumors to have inhabited. What happens? You'll have to watch to find out. Together with the knowledge they've gained, they must work with one another in order to survive. Will they make it? Will they destroy the evil this mirror contains? What happens if they don't? But if you like a little bit of spook with some slight humor, you definitely need to check this movie out. It's worth it. There you have it, another horror weekend saved. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button to be notified of our weekly weekend recommendations.